Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Jabbering with Jedi. Today is a very special episode. Uh,
Absolutely.
I waited to upload another episode of this because I wanted you to be my next guest, and being that you're in the opposite side, literally the opposite side of the world, I wanted to make this work. So, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to a good friend of mine, Mr. Wizard WC. What's going on, man?
A good friend of yours. Jeez. My check obviously arrived.
Yeah, yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm doing alright. I'm doing alright. How's yourself?
I'm doing good. I just played a bunch of Call of Duty, and that was a bad decision. Got my ass
Got
kicked
your ass
tonight.
handed to you?
Yeah, um, more normal than more than normal, but
Yep.
um, I'm glad you could be on the show, man. Like I said, I wanted you to be on one of the first few episodes. So
I appreciate you having me.
yeah. So I'm gonna start off with for people that don't really know who you are, because there's a lot of people that on my end that don't really know you or watch you. Um, Go ahead and introduce yourself and what you're about.
So my name is Wizard WC, or my Twitch is Wizard underscore WC. My real name is Wayne, but don't hold that against me. What am I about? Well, look, I'm a gamer at heart for sure. I'm middle aged, as much as I don't like to admit it. But yet I act like a teenager. My maturity, I guess, is that of a teenager. Um, so I stream generally 3 days a week, probably less. At the moment, I've got a bit going on, and I go out a lot, as in go to car racing a lot. So but I stream 3 days a week. Been doing that now for going on 5 years, I think. I think 1st of July, I think I'm hitting 5 years of streaming. Um, Other than that, I work full time outside of streaming and gaming. I work to buy video games, and I can't play video games because I work. So it's my favorite saying.
Yeah. Um. So you said you've been doing this for like 5 years now, streaming.
Yeah, I think so. It's
Yeah.
been something like that. Yeah.
Um. What got you initially? What got you into streaming? Why did you want to start streaming?
Well, actually, it wasn't so much that I wanted to start streaming. So go back 5 years ago. I was gaming a lot. I play a lot of Forza.
Oh, hold on.
And at the time, Forza was running a worldwide championship online, and they were streaming the episodes of the races. And if you watch the races, you got drops, sort of. So this is back in Mixer days.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same as Twitch drops, but same sort of thing. Anyway, so I was watching those streams a lot. Then through those streams, I started to meet people. So people's names come up and that kind of thing. And also back in the Mixer days, like Twitch, you could search for a particular game. So I could look for Forza. At the time, it was Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah.
So I'd look for streamers that were streaming those games because they were the games they were into. And there was a particular streamer that I was watching a lot, and he had a clan, kind of like what I do with WZRD in Horizon 5.
Yeah.
He had his own group, and they all used to stream. So I used to jump in and out of all their streams and that kind of thing, and I actually got to know them really, really well. Anyway, the guy that ran this group, he said to me, he goes, "Do you stream, Wizard?" And I'm like, "Nah, no, I don't stream." He goes, "Why not?" And I went, "I don't know. I don't know why not." So that kind of got my, the cogs ticket in the head, and I thought, well, I sit on the couch playing video games most nights.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there playing a game. Why not broadcast it while I'm doing it?
Yeah.
If nothing happens and it's a flop, who cares? So I actually started doing that. It was the 1st of July, whatever 5 years ago it was, 2018 or 19, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And through my Xbox, I just hit broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had the chat window up and stuff, and so I was just doing what I was normally doing. And slowly, people started dropping in. What happened was, so all these guys whose streams that I used to go into, they would come in and they'd raid me and all that sort of stuff. And I grew reasonably quickly in a very short period of time thanks to these guys. And so I just kind of kept doing it. And like yourself, I've met a lot of people through my streaming. Before I streamed, I never played online. I
Mm-hmm.
never did co-op. I never did anything like that. So since I've started streaming, I've been doing that. I've been doing the co-op. I race with people. We get into the stream and we chat and give each other shit, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of grew, and that's how I became this, I guess, regular streamer, and that's how that's how I got to where I am, I suppose.
Awesome. Yeah, because like you said about meeting people, like if it wasn't for streaming, like I would have never met you. You know what I mean? And
No, exactly right.
I consider you like one of my closest friends, even though like you
Yeah,
literally
same.
are on the opposite side of the world. Anybody watching, if you
Yeah.
can't tell, Wizard here is Australian. Um,
Yes.
it is currently Monday or Tuesday morning, 4:27 a.m. for me.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
Tuesday night, 6:28 p.m.
yeah. So
for me.
you guys can see the time difference there. Um, Obviously, I know where the WC comes from. I'm not gonna say it on stream, but where did Wizard come from? How did you come up with the name Wizard?
It's many years ago when I was a teenager. Um, I can't remember what game I was playing, but it's like most games now, you need a nickname, right? You need to come up with
Yeah,
you use your own name if you want, but it asks you to enter a name.
yeah.
And I loaded up the game and it's asking me for a name, and I'm just like, I don't know what name do I use? And on a piece of paper on the table that my computer was sitting on was the word wizard. So I kind of was like, enter a name, and I'm like, that'll do.
So
And so it kind of just stuck. I kind of just continued to use Wizard for everything. So, my PlayStation profile has Wizard in it. My Xbox profile, when I created it, has Wizard in it. So everything's kind of just became Wizard. So when it came time, when I created my Mixer account, even before I was streaming, it was just Wizard WC.
yeah,
And the WC came about. So WC is my initials. I'm not going
hmm,
to tell you what my full name is.
yeah,
The WC is my initials. So when I created my Mixer account, Wizard was already taken, so I had to come up with something else.
yeah.
So I just put an underscore and put WC at the end of it.
Nice. So, so you're telling me like you just saw a piece of paper and said first word that comes up, there it is.
Yep,
That's crazy.
that's it.
It's,
Well, and it's not so much that. I mean, it was only for that game,
yeah,
right? But it was kind of just every time I got asked for a nickname, I just chose Wizard because that's what
yeah.
I'd previously used.
That's
So,
funny.
and it was literally that. It was a piece of paper on the bench on the table that said Wizard.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, so you mentioned Mixer. You started on Mixer.
Yeah.
How long have you streamed on Mixer before you did the switch, or before Mixer died?
Oh, that's a good question. I actually think I was only on Mixer for about a year and a bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the timing. Um, so I'm pretty sure, yeah, I think it was just over a year because I'm pretty sure I had a first anniversary while I was still on Mixer,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure my second anniversary I'd already switched over to Twitch.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it was just over a year.
So is there anything about Mixer that you wish Twitch had, or is there anything that you want to bring back, or?
Yeah, I used to love with with Mixer. You had so the longer you watched a channel, you leveled up. There was like next to your name was a number
Mm-hmm.
and a symbol,
Yeah,
or,
I
a
forgot
symbol
about
with a
that.
number inside of it. And that the longer you watched, that went up, right? And the color changed and all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff. I kind of wish that still existed because, so for example, in Forza, like the official Forza stream, I used to watch it so much. I was the third highest level out of everyone in that stream. People used to private message me to ask about the game, and because they thought I worked for Forza, and I'm like, no, I've got no life, and I watch this I watch this stream a lot. If I could bring anything across from Mixer into Twitch, it would be that leveling up system because
Yeah.
it's as a streamer, it's good to see who's, I guess, loyal, I suppose, because
Yeah.
people don't always interact, so people can be lurking and in the stream, and it's good
Hmm.
to know. It's good to know that. It's good to see a representation of those that are supporting you the most.
Yeah. I will say, like the Twitch has they have like the watch time thing, the command. You could see how long people are. I wish that was shown somehow, like you're saying with the
absolutely, I
thing,
agree.
because you know me, I like to be on the top of the leaderboards in your channel. You know, I consider myself the king of your channel because you know.
Yep.
But in order to like show that, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where that came from, right?
Yeah.
So in Mixer,
Yeah.
you were the king of the channel because you had the highest
Yep.
value, I guess, of
Yeah.
whatever that thing was called.
God, man, it's crazy to think like what Mixer could have been if it didn't go under. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you one thing I definitely don't miss about Mixer. So for some reason, I could not get my stream to work properly in Mixer, like the video.
Yeah.
Most of the time I was streaming and it looked like Minecraft. It was just blocky. It was just really, really bad. I don't know what it was, because when I switched to Twitch, I had the same internet, same PC, same whatever.
Yeah.
And it was fine. So I definitely don't miss that.
Yeah. So switching gears here, I think you're the only one that I know that owns as many video games as you do. You're a collector of video games, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Uh,
it's an addiction and a habit for sure.
how many consoles are you up to now?
So consoles, I think. So do you want to know actual number of consoles?
Yeah.
Or, like, forget about the doubles.
No, actual like no double. It's just how many different consoles do you have?
Nearly 30, I think.
30 consoles.
Nearly 30 different consoles.
That's crazy. And there has to be over a couple thousand games at least, right?
Yeah, I think at the moment I'm sitting just over 2,000 games across all those consoles.
That is ridiculous.
And they're all physical, by the way, for anyone in the... No, who likes digital games. I hate digital games.
This guy doesn't do digital, even though in a few years that's all he's gonna be. That's all he's gonna be able to have is digital copies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. If you guys would see his room, follow him on Twitter if you're not already. His @'s right above his name. Message him and have him send you some of the pictures of his gaming display.
I love sharing.
It's incredible. So
actually, I love. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
I love sharing with other collectors, especially.
Yeah.
Because there's that, collecting for me is a passion. Right?
Yeah.
If I'm talking to someone who's not a collector, it's just you're talking video games. But when you're actually talking to someone who's also a collector, those conversations go for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's good to hear their stories as well. Oh yeah, if you're a collector, reach out to me. I'd love to chat.
Yeah. @WizardWC. So, what is your favorite console to collect for? Do you have a certain favorite, like a favorite console you like? As soon as you see a game, I'm picking it up. You know?
I think Mega Drive, and I think that's mostly because that was my console as a kid. I did have, I had a Master System before that, but the bulk of my gaming as a child, and because I had a mate who also had a Mega Drive and he had a heap of games and we'd swap games, that kind of thing. So I think Mega Drive, but it's more of a nostalgia thing over, I like the Mega Drive because I think it's a superior console and there's nothing like that. It's just, I think that, I remember as a kid holding my Mega Drive in my hand, especially when I first got it.
Yeah.
That was like, that was huge for me. That was, you couldn't wipe the smile off my face knowing that I actually owned this console.
Mm-hmm.
I remember coming home from school and you'd have a shit at school or something and, fire up a game and you're playing whatever, you forget about all the crap you had to put up with. So yeah, I think, Mega Drive for me is one that if I had to sell my collection, and I really hope, touch wood, it never comes to that, I think my Mega Drive one would be the hardest one to part with. And I think I would still keep parts of it because of that childhood nostalgia thing. I think you'd have to really claw some of the games out of my hands, especially the ones that I used to play as a kid, I think.
Yeah. So if anybody is in the mood to buy a Sega Mega Drive, hit this guy up. He'll be happy to sell it to you.
No chance.
So Mega Drive, that's for Americans. It's Genesis, correct?
Genesis.
Yeah, Sega Genesis. Um, I remember, I remember growing up. Um, one of my favorite games on the Sega Genesis, which Sonic the Hedgehog. You're a big Sonic guy.
Oh yeah.
Have you? What do you think your personal speed record is to fully part one from finish start to finish? What do you think your record would be?
So so I remember. I reckon. So the original Sonic on the Mega Drive, I played. It was one of the only games I owned for a very long time. So I played it a hell of a lot. Um, and it got to the point where I would come home from school, I'd fire up the game, and before dinner, I'd have it finished with plenty of time to spare. So I reckon, look, I don't actually remember the time, but it was under 2 hours I could get from the very first level to the boss. Credits rolling,
That's crazy.
clocked as we used to call it back then, in under 2 hours for sure. But God, I played that game a lot. These days we're lucky we've got stats that show us how many hours we've put into a game. There was none of that back then. I'd love to see my stats on Sonic the Hedgehog.
I honestly don't think I've ever finished the original Sonic the Hedgehog because I always got caught on it wasn't
Water level?
yeah, I think it was, yeah, it was the water level. I hated that damn thing. I hated it.
Any water level is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough level. But I
So
mean, like I actually studied the game in the sense of, so I found where all the secret bits were,
yeah,
knew where the bits to avoid to get through the levels faster. Like I almost drew this stuff out, not literally, but I had notes everywhere, and like I played it so much that I'd found every bit, every nook and cranny that you could explore was explored, and I found all the ways to go, to cut the time down, all that sort of stuff.
yeah.
That kind of craziness.
So are you comfortable saying that Sonic is your favorite game of all time?
Yeah, I think it is. Once again, I think the nostalgia side has
Yeah.
a huge part in that. I don't necessarily think it is the actual greatest game, but for the nostalgia side of things, yeah, absolutely. Um, I think I said yesterday, if there was only one game I could play for the rest of my life, the original Sonic the Hedgehog on the Mega Drive / Genesis
Yeah.
would be like right up there. I think for sure.
Yeah. So what do you think the hardest video game of all time that you played is?
Ooh,
Because
that's a really good question.
I have one that's for the Mega Drive that
Yeah.
to this day I still haven't beat it.
Yeah.
Lion King on the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, The Lion King was pretty tough. Well, actually, so those two Disney ones of Aladdin and Lion King. So they were two games that I played. A lot of my mate had the game, so I played them a
Yeah.
fair bit. And you're right, actually. So I finished Aladdin many times.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever finished Lion King.
It's crazy. I was they have it for the Xbox. It's a bundle. You could buy both the games for
Yeah.
a bundle. I think I've seen on there like the watch through the record for not Aladdin, Lion King was like 52 minutes or something, start to finish. I'm like, there's no way.
That's nuts.
There's no way. And that was on like,
Yeah.
you remember how you can like change it to easy and then you can get 8 lives or whatever. I
Yeah.
used to do that all the time because I would always need it. But the guy did it normal, 3 lives, start to finish, 52 minutes. I'm like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's tricky.
That's
And
insane.
the thing with the older games, there was no, like now you can die 100 times and it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
You just start at the last point.
Yeah.
Back then, you had lives. You got 3 lives, and when you died, that's it. You
That's
start
it.
from the
Start
start again.
over. Yep. There was no checkpoints, no save points, nothing.
Exactly.
Um, so you're a big racing guy, right? So let's talk wrestling. No, kidding. um, so when did you start watching racing? Was it like since you were a kid, or was it later in life?
Yeah, no, I remember as a kid. So the same mate that had all the Mega Drive stuff.
Oh, I can't watch it again.
Not yet. No. Sorry, my bro. Sean was talking to me. My
No,
brother.
you're all good.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You're right. The same mate that I used to borrow the Mega Drive games from, he was into Formula One. And we used to, as kids, you sleep at each other's places, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So I wasn't really into any sort of motorsport, anything like that. And I remember staying at his place once, and there was a race on, and he was like, let's stay up, and because Formula One's on the middle of the night for most races are on the middle of the night for us Aussies.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, we'll stay up and we'll watch the race. I'm like, okay, whatever. I had no idea about Formula One or anything like that. So we did. We didn't get up. We actually didn't go to bed. I don't know what time the race was on, but yeah. So we sat there and watched this race, and I was like, this is really cool. Like, don't ask me who was racing, anything like that. I can't remember. It was kind of Michael Schumacher days, if anyone remembers how long ago. In fact, I think it might have been way before that. Anyway, so I watched this race and I was like, oh, this is actually not bad. Like, I enjoyed it. Didn't really follow it or anything, but then, like, I used to see that mate so much that every time I saw him, it was like it was a conversation. Oh, did you watch the race? Let's hear about it. And so that kind of, because of his interest, piqued my interest. I would start to keep an eye on it, and then I would start to actually watch races.
Hmm.
I reckon, I was probably double digits in age, but I was quite young. And that was the point where I got hooked.
Like early teens, you think? Like 13, 14?
I reckon, I would have been like 10, 11, maybe
yeah.
12 years old, something like that. Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. So who's your... Daniel Ricciardo's your favorite racer of all time, I'm assuming?
Look, favorite, yes. Favorite racer of all time, for sure, Daniel Ricciardo. I think the sun shines out of his ass. I would turn for him. Like, he's just I just love him. He's great, right? Is he the best driver? No, definitely not. But his personality, his Aussiness, is what I really like about him. He's a not serious dude, but he's serious on the track when he needs to be.
Yeah.
He has a good joke. He's a larrikin. All the stuff that I kind of connect with. So favorite for sure. Best, definitely not.
That's fair. Who do you think the best
Daniel.
best F1 driver of all time is? Not currently. It could be all time.
All time. Look, there's the usuals. Probably someone like Michael Schumacher, Ayrton Senna, although unfortunately he died before he could really prove himself.
Yeah.
But what he did up to that point was impressive. Alan Prost. Look, there's Niki Lauda. Is another one that. Niki Lauda's another one that he's one of my heroes. Who sadly passed away a few years ago, 5 years ago, the other day actually, I think it was. It's that kind of older era of races, kind of, some of in the 70s and 80s, there were some extremely good drivers. It was a different time for motor racing. The safety was completely different. These guys were literally putting their lives on the line every time they got in the car.
Yeah.
And the things they did in these cars was just superhuman. And that's as a racer, I'm not a real racer, but as someone who can appreciate the sport and appreciate what they do not every day, but every time they get out on track, what they used to do was super impressive, especially the likes of the ones that I mentioned. They're right up there as being just the best drivers of all time.
Yeah. See, I never really got into F1. I'm starting to pay attention a little bit recently. But NASCAR, we have NASCAR over here in the U.S.
Yeah.
I grew up loving Earnhardt. Earnhardt was always my guy. Never really got to see Senior drive, although I did, unfortunately, I saw the race where he passed away in. But ever since then, his son has been my favorite drivers of all time. Until he retired. Now I haven't really watched it since he retired, but I follow a few people. So yeah, that's cool.
Well, NASCAR at the moment has Shane Van Gisbergen. So he's actually a Kiwi, so he's from New Zealand.
Yeah.
But he raced in the Australian. So over here in Australia, we've got a category. It's kind of the top category in Australia called supercars.
Yeah.
They're basically V8s. It used to be Ford versus Holden, if you know that whole rivalry thing.
I heard
It's now
about it.
Ford versus Chevrolet because Holden kind of doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So Shane Van Gisbergen used to race in that. He's won championships there. He's now in NASCAR. And there's actually a couple of current supercars drivers who are going to be racing in, I think it's Sonoma. Is that one that's coming up in NASCAR? I think it's Sonoma. Anyway, Cam Waters and Will Brown. So they're current, and they're the guys that I actually go for in supercars.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually going to be racing in NASCAR in a couple of weeks.
My ESPN app isn't working. I was gonna look it up for you, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we don't get unfortunately with NASCAR here, unless you're paying for it, you don't get to see it, which is really unfortunate. For me to watch supercars and Formula One, the same app has NASCAR, luckily.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I do want to watch it, I can, which is good. So, but that's not available to everyone, unfortunately, because you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
I always maintained I would never pay to watch racing, but they kind of forced my hand when they took supercars and Formula One off free to air.
I mean, there's always ways around watching things.
There is ways around it,
Yeah.
absolutely, yes. And I have made use of those, but I kind of got sick of the unreliability, to be honest.
Yeah. So I want to go back to gaming a little bit.
Sure.
For people that are curious, what is your setup like? How's your setup like? Can you give us a verbal tour of your setup, like your streaming and gaming setup?
So interestingly, I play. So my Xbox, I mostly play Xbox. So I've got an Xbox Series X. I actually have that set up on a trolley. Okay. So I don't know if you remember back in school days where the teacher would roll in the trolley with the TV on it and the VHS, and that's when you knew you were going to watch a movie or a show.
Yeah.
That came about. So the room I'm sitting in at the moment is my game room. It's where all my video game stuff is. It's kind of a bit isolated from the rest of the house in the sense that if I'm in here playing, I'm alone, which, I mean, that personally doesn't bother me. I'm a bit of a loner anyway, but I'm away from my wife, away from the kids, from where the main action in the house sort of happens. So the trolley itself came about because a couple of years ago, so my wife injured herself a few years ago, and so she was off work a lot, and she wanted to be able to watch TV, in the bath or in bed or on, or on the couch, which we've got a TV there anyway. But so I said to her, I've gone, well, what if I do a trolley? So I literally brought a like a kitchen trolley, made some modifications to it, and so she used to just put her laptop on there. There was a screen on there, and so she would just wheel it around wherever she was doing whatever she was doing, even outside if she wanted to.
Yeah.
And that allowed her to watch Netflix or whatever she was watching. Then after a while, she just sort of stopped using it. So I said to her, well, can I have it? And I said to her, because what I'll do is I'll set up my Xbox on there. Instead of playing in this room by myself, I can actually play my games in the lounge room while she's watching TV.
Yeah.
So that's generally what I do. So I wheel my Xbox around wherever I want to play it. Other than that, if I want to play any other console, I can set it up wherever I want. So the Xbox is really the only one I've got set up full time because I play it the most.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones I've got sitting on a shelf just to the right of me here, all on display. So if I want to play them, I pull out the cords. They're all sitting in the corner. I've got them in boxes labelled. I just pick up the box, pull the cords out. In here, I can either play them using the monitor I've got on my trolley, or I've actually got a projector and a 100-inch projector screen that I can use as well, which is bloody awesome. And I've got surround sound in here and stuff. The only issue is my projector's only 720p, not 4K.
Okay.
So it's really good for the, kind of Xbox 360 generation.
Yeah.
But for current gen, it's a bit,
Bit
I've got a monitor that's 4K. Playing in 720p is a bit crap.
It just doesn't make sense to go backwards, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't use the projector as much as I wish I could. And I can't afford a 4K projector.
Yeah. They're
It's way too much video games.
But that's cool. A lot of my friends like Funny Joka. He knows you as like the racing guy, right?
Yeah.
And he
A
wanted
lot
me
of people know me.
he wanted me to bring this question up to you. Um,
Sure.
he goes, ask him, because I asked a few people, I'm like, I'm going to be interviewing Wizard. What do you want me to ask him? He's like, ask him how much his racing wheel and his setup costs for his racing stuff. I'm like, he just uses a controller. Do you have a racing wheel that you use?
I do. So you're right. I do use controller. I do have a racing wheel. Like it's just which one is it? It's the Logitech G920. I think it is. I think that's the Xbox one.
Yeah.
Um, it's nothing fancy. So this I've got the wheel, the pedals, and
The
the
shit there.
shift knob.
Yeah.
I paid like $400-500 for it, and I built my own stand for it. But the reason I use controller over the wheel, like, don't get me wrong, the wheel is super fun. Like, it's much more fun than using controller.
Yeah.
But when I'm racing, I'm generally racing for a purpose.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to go as hard as I can and get the best times that I can. The problem with the wheel is, so I've got force feedback in the wheel itself, but I've got no feeling in the pedals, the brake and accelerator. And so when you're playing Forza, for example, and you're accelerating or braking using the triggers, you get that shake
Yeah.
of when the wheel's slipping, or if you're over braking and the wheels are locked up, you get that shake. My pedals don't have any of that, so I find it very hard to find the sweet spot for accelerating and braking in it. So what I found is, and I've actually tested it, my times using controller are significantly faster than my times using my wheel, and it's all about that feel in the, well, you know, fingers for the controller or
Yeah.
feet for the wheel. I wish I could afford a hydraulic pedal setup, but a good racing sim setup will set you back 3-4 grand.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
I seen some of them. Some of them on TikTok. They have like the full arcade machines,
Yeah.
setups,
Yeah.
and I was in one of their live chats, and I'm like, Wizard should have something like this. But then when I asked, I'm
Yeah.
like, how much did this cost you? The dude I think paid $27,000 for it, like the full setup. I'm like, that's insane. To
Yeah.
to play a game, I'm good. Just give me my
Yeah.
controller.
Well,
I'm good.
you know those memes that say, if I win the lottery, I'm not going to tell anyone, but there'll be signs.
Yeah.
So if one day you see me and I've got this Schmick racing wheel set up, there's probably a sign that I've won
Yeah.
this.
You're just gonna come
But look,
live.
I just, my wife said to me, she goes, go out and buy yourself a good setup.
Yeah.
But I like, as much as I would use it a shitload, I just can't justify spending a few grand on what's effectively a controller when
Yeah.
I can do, I cope with the controller, the hand controller.
Mm-hmm.
I make do with that. I can get some pretty quick times in it. Look, maybe one day I'd invest in a wheel, but I wouldn't get the full rig. I don't see the point of doing that because of the way that I play. Like I said, I'm kind of portable
Yeah.
in the way that I play my Xbox. My setup I can move around at the moment, and that's all I would want. So I would just use the same monitor I use now,
Mm-hmm.
but a better wheel, better pedals, better shift knob, and just race that way. I wouldn't
Yeah.
go the full. You see them; they've got like 3 screens set up, and it's almost a 180-degree view and stuff. I don't think I'd ever go that extreme, even if I could afford it, because just the way that I play.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought it was funny. Like the guys, like I said, the guy spent like $27,000 just to play
Yeah,
one game. If you're
and that's the other thing. So as technology changes in regards to games and consoles,
yeah,
that steering wheel is not going to last forever.
it's gonna need
So
updates. You're
this
gonna have to
the
update it.
wheel, yeah, exactly. So the wheel that I've got, luckily, so I brought that when I had my Xbox One. Luckily, it's still usable on the Series X, but the next generation that might not be the case.
Yeah,
So this guy who spent 20 grand on his setup, the technology changes. Well, it effectively becomes obsolete. That's a lot of money to spend on something that you can, like you said, you can only use for one game.
yeah. I wouldn't go that far, man.
Nah, neither would I.
So yeah, that's cool. Um, what is your game you're looking forward to releasing? Like, what's your highly anticipated game within the next maybe year, couple of years? What game are you looking forward to the most?
Look, there's not a great deal on the horizon. I mean, I look for racing games,
Mm.
right? Like I was excited for the new Forza Motorsport to come out. When Forza Horizon 5 was announced, I was excited for that. In regards to racing games, there's actually nothing really in the horizon that's substantial. There are a couple of racing games coming out that I am looking forward to, but it's not um, like all the ones that I was looking forward to have come out. The only one that I can think of at the moment is a game called Recreation. So the same people that made Wreckfest
Oh,
are creating a game called Recreation, but it's different. So Wreckfest was your kind of
that's
beat
gonna be
each other up
fun.
like in a car type thing.
That's gonna be
This
fun.
one, well, this one's a little bit different. It's more about building tracks for other people to race on. It's more of a stunt thing as opposed to
Oh, okay.
beating each other up.
Yeah.
Another game that I'm looking forward to is Drive Club Unlimited. Um, this game's been in the works forever. They announced it like 3 years ago or something, and they just keep pushing the release date back. But it's going to be like it's almost like a Need for Speed style game, which I don't love, but this one looks a bit different and looks a bit more interesting. So they're probably the two games at the moment that I'm looking forward to, but neither of them have a release date. So
Hmm.
God knows when they're going. In fact, Recreation, they announced so you could pre-order Recreation a year and a half ago, and I put a pre-order on, and it's still sitting there, and it still says to be confirmed for the date.
That's crazy. That was gonna be my next question. If you had anything pre-ordered currently, that's funny you brought that up. I was gonna ask you that.
So yeah, what have I got? No, so that's pretty much it. Um, Actually, there's some Sonic Pop vinyls that are coming out that I've got pre-ordered.
Oh, dude, Funko
There's
Pops.
a twin pack. Hey,
Funko Pops are my jam, man. I love Funko Pops.
yeah, I know they are. I haven't got anywhere near as many as you do, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's a twin pack of Sonic. I think it's a Knuckles and Amy or something. I don't remember who it is. Anyway, there's two of them. It comes out at the end of this month, I think. Oh, F1 23, F1 24. Sorry, comes out on the 31st of this month. I've got that pre-ordered.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So, what are we going here? I have a whole list of things I was gonna talk to you about. Let me see here. So, let's talk movies. What's your favorite movie? Favorite movie of all time?
Ooh, Shrek.
Shrek. Out
Shrek.
of all the
Like, come on, how
movies,
good is Shrek?
out of
Shrek's bloody
all the
awesome.
movies, I did not expect you to pick
Yeah,
Shrek.
look, Shrek is, it plays to my immature mind,
Yeah.
right? Like it's a really clever movie. It's a kids movie, but it's not a kids movie. Um, and it's like I've lost count the amount of times I've watched that movie, and I could watch it over and over and over again. And in fact, when my daughter was younger, there was a stage there where she was obsessed with the movie, so we were watching it 2, 3 times a day sometimes.
Mhm.
And I was loving it. Like that was like, yes, this is awesome. Shrek's just such a good movie. Um, but I don't know. I've got a lot of movies that I could watch over and over again. Shawshank Redemption is a brilliant movie. The Green Mile is another great movie. Um, Robin Hood Men in Tights. Have you seen that movie?
I don't remember. I might have, but I don't remember exactly what that movie was.
So Robin Hood Men in Tights is like a parody of Robin Hood almost.
Yeah.
It's a comedy, and it's the most ridiculous, stupid movie, but it's just so funny. Trying to think what else. I don't know. Like, I love all the Transformers movies.
Mhm.
Any movie that's got that's to do with car racing or action. I really like Death Race.
Oh, I
watched
love
Death
Death Race.
Well, I watched that movie by accident a few years ago, and I went, "This movie is freaking awesome." It's
That
so ridiculous, but it's great.
that movie was incredible.
Yeah, I reckon as well.
Um, so
And
who's
it came about. So, well, when I say by accident, it was like late at night one night, and I was, I'd finished watching a movie or something. I was flicking through channels,
Mhm.
and I stopped on this channel because it was the cars, right? And they were, they had all the metal crap on them, and I was like, "What's this movie?" And it only just started. I ended up watching it to the end, and I went, "That movie's fucking awesome."
Yeah, that was good. Have you seen all of the Death Races? I think there was like 3 of them. I think.
Yeah, no, I think I've seen the second one.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, but yeah, no, I've definitely not seen the third one.
I don't know if there's a third one. I could be wrong on that, but I know there's a few of them. Uh, who's your favorite actor? If you got to hang out and have a drink with any actor, alive or dead, who would it be?
I I'd probably have to say Robin Williams.
Yeah.
He's I don't think he's ever been in a bad movie. And not just that, like him himself, like he's just a brilliant person.
You
Taken
know,
from us way too soon.
yeah, I'm the same way. I love Robin Williams, but if I had to pick his worst movie, I didn't really care for Hook too much. I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah,
That movie didn't really do it for me, you know.
yeah.
Um,
But yeah, like actually talking about favorite movies, like another movie I actually really like was Patch Adams, which is Robin Williams is in that. The thing about Robin Williams, like, so, he's a comedian, right? But he's actually done some serious roles
Yeah.
that have been brilliant. So he's like he could just do everything, and he could do everything really well.
1 hour photo
And
where
he
he
was
was
just- Yeah. Oh my god. Yes. How brilliant is that movie? Like, and that shocked me. That movie, as in not the movie itself, the fact that his character,
yeah.
the way he played that character, like if you watched that movie and didn't know who Robin Williams was, at the end of it, you would not pick that he was a comedian. And if you said to someone that guy's a comedian, you go, "Get stuff, no way, there's
Yeah.
no chance." Yeah, he's just brilliant, I reckon.
Yeah, I don't think there's any bad movies like you said that Robin Williams have ever been in. Aladdin's probably my favorite one. What he did with the genie,
Yeah,
hilarious to this
absolutely.
day, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be 31 and I love Disney movies. I can watch
Same.
Disney movies till I'm blue in the face, you know. And
absolutely.
Lion King is my favorite, but the Aladdin with the genie is like number
Yeah.
2 for me, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm like that as well. Like I said, one of my favorite movie of all time is Shrek, so that gives you an idea of the type of movies I
Yeah.
like to watch. If I'm picking a movie, I go to the cartoons first.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
You have to. So who's your least favorite actor? Like if you saw him, you probably want to walk up to him and like slap him in the face.
Someone like Fran Drescher.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't. Her voice is
Like-
annoying.
Yeah. Can't think of them. There are a few actors that, if I see they're in a movie, I just go, I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
I can't think of any apart from Fran Drescher. I can't think of any others at the moment.
For me, it's Dan
It's
Aykroyd.
like-
I hate Dan Aykroyd. I don't know why.
See, I'm not. I don't mind Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah. Ghostbusters is a good
No,
movie, but I
yeah,
hate.
that's it.
I hate Dan.
There is another actor I can't think. It'll probably come to me later. I could give you examples of movies that I haven't seen because they are in it.
Yeah.
If I remember it, I'll tell you. But I can't think of who it is at the moment, top of my head.
Yeah.
That's how much I try and avoid them.
So living in Australia, what's the food like? Like, is there any major differences between American food and Australian food?
Well, we don't fry everything.
That's true, I guess.
Look, I don't know. Look, I've never been to America, so
Oh, so
I don't know. Unfortunately, I wish I said that I
Yeah.
haven't travelled a lot. Unfortunately,
You could have
I think-
came to the F1 race in Miami. You could
I
have
would love to have. Trust me, I really would have.
I actually
I
watched
think
that race.
being,
It was a good race.
yeah, it was. It actually was a decent race for sure. Yeah, the food wise, I think being, we call it a multicultural country, right? Because Australia is made up of anyone that's not Australian, basically. We've got people from all over the world that live here, come over here and live here.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings with it a lot of bloody good food. So, you know, one of the advantages I think of living in Australia is if there's a cuisine, as in like a country's cuisine you want to eat, you'll find it, and they'll be everywhere. Um, you know, doesn't matter what it is. I guarantee you, there's a handful of restaurants within where you're sitting right now that will have that food.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you feel like, you can get it. So, as I said, I don't really know what it's like in America, apart from, I guess from movies you get this picture of huge cheesy pizzas and everything's fried and huge burgers and that kind of thing. But I don't know how real that actually is.
That's America for you. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, that's it. Everything's bigger in Texas. Probably everything's bigger in all of America anyway.
Yeah, especially the people. Anyway,
Oh, don't worry, us Aussies are not far behind you. I'm skinny, but I'm the exception, I reckon.
You're the skinniest person I know, I think. Honestly.
Probably.
So what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? Like, have you...
Chicken feet.
Chicken feet.
Chicken feet. Yeah. So, many years ago, we were at a Chinese restaurant. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was a Chinese restaurant. A fairly, not like a corner store, like a proper good Chinese restaurant in the city. And it was... The way the restaurant worked is you didn't order a meal, you ordered... What's the word I'm looking for? There was like little bits of stuff. So what you do, you get the menu and you go, yeah, I have one of those, one of those, one of those, and one of those, and they bring it out and everyone just kind of shares it. And you don't order everything at once. So basically what happens is as you're finishing those, they come over the menu again and go, right, now we want this, that, and that. Anyway, so we were sitting there and we're getting towards the end of the meal, and the people we were with have gone, because they had the chicken legs on the, or chicken feet on the menu, and like, we should try it. And I just went, yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, they got it, and I'm like, well, it's in front of me. I've got to give this a shot, right?
Yeah.
Basically, it's like eating... So, imagine chicken, right? The skin of the chicken. So, take the chicken out of it and just have the skin. Marinated heavily. So, it was like just almost like just a fatty texture, in a way. Heavily marinated. Wasn't terrible, but it's definitely not something I would go out of my way to order again.
Isn't it just like skin and bone, literally? Like you're just eating the skin?
Literally.
That's...
Yes. So, you get the foot, and you just suck the skin off the bone.
I mean, I'm like you, I'll try anything once, but I don't know. That's it. That sounds a little weird, man.
Look, surprisingly, the bowl was empty when they came to collect it. Not that you got a lot in it anyway, and there was only 4 of us there.
Yeah.
But, it wasn't... Take the thought of what it is out of the equation. It wasn't terrible. And like I said, there was so much marinade on it that that's all you could taste anyway, apart from, obviously, the texture of the skin.
Mm-hmm. See, for us, we, when we cook chicken, I enjoy like a crispier skin, Like if you put it in the oven for a little bit and the skin gets crispy, I'm like, I'll eat the skin first before I eat
Same.
But I can't imagine...
If you could serve me up a bowl of just crispy skin from a chicken, I'd happily eat a huge bowl of it.
Now, do they have to make it that way, where it's like all fatty, or can it be like a crispier?
I have no idea. I don't know. It's the way this one came. I've never had chicken feet again, so I don't know. I'm sure they probably could make it crispy. Yeah, but I honestly don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's cool. Wildlife. Australia is known for like the crazy animals that live in Australia.
Yep.
Spiders. How crazy are the spiders over there?
Look, it depends where you live. So I live in effectively the city area versus the country or sort of regional area.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there are spiders everywhere, but none of them are deadly where I am. You might get a couple that would be deadly, or venomous is probably the better word to use, not deadly.
Yeah.
If they bit you, it would bloody hurt and you'd probably end up in hospital. It would kill you. Um, Look, in the cities, so, a lot of Americans, or in fact, it's not just Americans, a lot of people from overseas have never been to Australia. The movies and stuff and the media paint Australia as a picture as like there's kangaroos jumping down the street. You can hop in their pouch and ride them to work, and there's spiders everywhere. You lift the lid of the toilet and a snake comes out and tries to bite you. It's not like that at all. It's probably no different to your place.
Yeah.
You find a spider here and there. There might be a bug here and there. It's not. It's really not that bad. Even when you go out to the country areas, we go camping a lot. You never see. You never see snakes. You might see a couple of spiders, but they're more scared of you than you are of them. They don't come near you unless you provoke them.
Yeah.
You might see a kangaroo hopping along here and there, but once again, they're scared of humans, so they're not going to come anywhere near you if they don't want to. Some of the wildlife here makes some funky noises at night that sound scary when you know what they are and what the noises is. It's it's like, well, that's just a koala making some funky noise, and it's not actually, it sounds like it's going to rip you apart, but
A koala.
it's not. Koala.
There's.
They make this noise. I don't even know how to describe it, but if you've never heard a koala at night, you will shit yourself. It's this weird noise. It sounds like it's going to come and rip you to shreds.
So are they like for America? Our common, especially where I live, our common thing is deer. We have a lot of deer, especially on the road that I go to drive to work, back and forth. It's all woods, for like 10 miles.
Yeah.
It's all woods. Do you have any animal there that's like that? I want to say populated to where it's like a common thing. Like you could basically see one every day.
Kangaroos?
Okay.
For sure.
Nice.
And unfortunately, you drive down the highways here and they're dead all over the road. Like, there's a lot of them, unfortunately. I hate seeing that.
Yeah.
But, when you say you would see them every day, if you were living in the country in certain areas, you probably would. You'd probably find them in your backyard. If you've got a big enough property, different from suburbia. But you drive down the highway, like we drive 3 hours to a racetrack, and it's highway the whole way, flagged by trees and bush and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And you always see kangaroos. Unfortunately, you only see them dead. You never really see them alive jumping around.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I think kangaroos is probably the highest percentage of animal that you would more likely see.
Have you ever eaten a kangaroo?
I think I have tried kangaroo, yes. Similar situation where I don't think I asked for it, but it was in front of me and I had to try it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't order kangaroo purely because I love kangaroos. Like, they're just beautiful creatures.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to eat one.
Yeah, but I get that, but like if I give you a piece of meat and I don't tell you what it is, I just tell you I cooked it. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, oh, by the way,
I wouldn't pick that it was kangaroo. I would eat it and I'd go, that was really nice. And you'd go, that was kangaroo. I'd punch you in the face and then it'd be fine.
Oh, that's funny. I Australia's on my bucket list. I want to travel to Australia.
Yeah, you got to come down. I got to make you some pizzas.
Yeah, so pizzas. I love pizzas. Yeah, man, I think
You got to get down, man.
I want to go to the
We've
zoo.
got a game in this room together.
Oh, can you imagine that for a stream, dude? Holy hell. That would be a hell of a
Yeah.
stream. One of these days where I have like $5,000 just to like throw away, maybe I'll come down.
Yeah, that's it. Likewise with me and coming to America or anywhere else in the world for that matter.
Yeah. Because I want to go to the zoo, the Australian
Yep.
zoo, for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons, yes. If you come to Australia, right, and you come to Victoria, which is the state that I live in, there's, speaking of kangaroos, so there's a wildlife park about an hour and a half from my house.
Oh, nice.
And they actually take in injured wildlife, so kangaroos, emus. I think they got dingoes there, but the dingoes don't roam free. But so the kangaroos and emus, they just roam free, and you walk through, you buy food, and you feed them by hand.
Oh, that'd be
You
cool.
pat them, cuddle them. Like, it's, we've been there a few times. It's amazing. Like, it's just, you know, you Americans, if I can say that,
Yeah.
you know, you think kangaroos are scary creatures. I mean, look, if you met one in a wild, you'd shit yourself. But after going to this park, it will change your mind about what a kangaroo
I've seen a lot of
is.
videos to where like a kangaroo was attacking this dog. There's one video
Yes.
in particular, and
Yeah.
it just punched the guy
Yeah.
in the face. I'm like, wow, all right.
Yeah.
Um,
Look, in the wild, you know, it's like any animal, right? If you go into their territory, they're going to get defensive and they're going to try and protect themselves if they think they're being threatened.
yeah.
That's no different here. But the ones that are at this park, most of them have been there. Some of them have even been born there, so they know nothing else. They know they're protected. The humans that go there, they know don't hurt them, so they'll come up to you and they'll let you pat them. And
That's
you know,
cool.
like we were there, we were putting our arms around them and giving them cuddles and stuff, and they were loving it.
Yeah, that's cool. I want to do that. Like, I want to hold a sloth is like my next big thing. I want to hold a sloth. But yeah, that's cool.
I've held a kangaroo.
You've held a kangaroo, like a baby or like a full grown? Because aren't they
Full grown.
aren't they
They're heavy.
huge? Like,
Nah, they're like, you know. So if I was holding it, my arm would be at just above my waist, and its head would sit where my head.
oh, okay.
is. But like, you know, end to end, you know, like if they were standing up on their paws, they'd be, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of a meter, maybe even a meter for if it's a big one. But even that'd be pretty big.
Yeah.
But they're bulky things.
I was under the impression that like they're tall, like they're very tall, you know.
No.
Especially like don't they like aren't they like Tigger? They bounce on their tails sometimes, or is that a myth?
No, that's kangaroos.
Yeah. That's what.
I said koala.
Oh, koala! I thought we were talking about kangaroos.
Koala.
I'm an idiot.
No.
Alright.
No, that's all right. Yeah, no. So kangaroos can jump on their tails. In fact, if they're fighting, they actually get on their tail and use their legs to kick and stuff as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, koala. So I can't remember where we were. Some zoo somewhere. And you pay for it. And yeah, we actually got to hold a kangaroo. And it's funny. Like, I don't know if you've taken too much notice of what a koala looks like. The fur.
Yeah.
They look really fluffy and soft. Their hair is like wire brush. It's like really thick and harsh, and
Ugh.
yeah, it was interesting.
They look.
I didn't expect that when I touched it.
They look fluffy, but I don't know.
Yeah, they're fluffy, but it's really wiry. It's such a thick, harsh hair, not like a dog, you know, and fluffy and soft and yeah.
I think that might do it for us. Is there anything you want to like ask me, or anything you want to plug on your merch, maybe your Twitter, anything you want to do, anything you want to plug?
No, look, you know, come check me out on Twitch, wizard_WC. I try and stream 3 times a week. Yeah, no, other than that, that's pretty much it. And I don't need to ask you anything. I pretty much know everything about you.
Yeah, we've been with it. I think we figured it out yesterday. It's like what, going on 5 years that we've known each other. Friends for 5 years. 5 years of my life.
Well, we met when I was on Mixer.
Yeah.
Towards the end, but when I was on Mixer, so like so that I switched over nearly 4 years ago. So we've known each other for more than 4 years, I think.
Yeah, I've known. I think like a year, maybe a little bit less than a year on Mixer, and then that went under. But
yeah, I know it was pretty early on.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've known this goober for 5 years of my life, but that's all right. I consider you a good friend. Um, but yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. Like I said, I wanted to do this for a while now because you are one of my
I've
best
enjoyed
friends,
it.
you know. So,
I appreciate you having me.
um, like I said, go check Wizard um at Wizard WC, Twitter, Twitch at Wizard_WC. Um, he does have merch. If you go to his YouTube or his Twitch channel, exclamation mark merch.
Yeah, buy some because no one ever does.
I tried to find my hat. I don't know where my hat is, and I have to do laundry,
Oh, how dare you!
or else I would have wore the shirt. I have to do laundry.
I was gonna look. I was gonna wear my shirt, my Wizard WC shirt, but number one, it's so low you can't see it in the camera, and number two, I literally got this today. Is my new Daniel Ricciardo T-shirt, so it says Ricciardo on the back, so I had to wear it.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, man, thanks for giving me an hour of your time, and I was gonna wait to post this until next week, but I think I'm just gonna post it right after we're done here. So,
Check it out.
until next time, thanks for watching. Have a good night.